Telephone call. This is another example of how relevant costing can be tested. This is a past exam question, and I'm going to look into this in detail. So I will say take like 2-3 minutes, go through the question. You can pause the video right now, go through the question so that you can follow through the solution as I progress. And where I'm going to start from is to go quickly into the requirements. So look at it. These are the requirements for 20 marks. The first one says, prepare a cost statement using relevant costing principles, showing the minimum cost that TCO should charge for the contract. Make detailed notes showing how each cost has been arrived at, and explain why each of the costs above has been included or excluded from your cost statement. That's a whopping 15 marks. And that's why I've prepared this structure for you, which I think will do so much good for you. You can practice with this kind of structure, and also gives you a professional mark if there's any for your question, because this is quite simple to follow through. So we're going to list out all the cost items we can see in the notes. We're going to calculate the relevant costing applicable for each of them. And the last column is justification. That will be where this detailed notes that has been requested for will be documented. Let's start with that before we go into B. So we have telephone call who has been approached by a new customer for a potential business. And telephone call needs to quote for that business. There are other people who will also be quoting for the business, so telephone call needs to really quote a highly competitive price. And for them to get a highly competitive price, they need to be on top of their game in terms of costing, which means they must not overcost, and likewise, they need to be profitable as a business. So they really need to know what cash flow are they losing, such that they can now add extra on top of that as a margin to make profit. So the first note is the salesman's cost, which is what I'm going to put here. Salesman. And what should be the relevant cost? Let's look at the note. It says, one of the company's salesmen has already been to visit Pushco to give them a demonstration of the new system, along with a complimentary lunch. Wow. The cost of which totaled to $400. So look at this. The guy has already gone there to show this potential customer how the system is working. The relevant cost for this item is definitely going to be 0. And you can understand why it is 0, because this is more like a feasibility cost. It's more like early costs, like what you can call research and development, because the decision has not been taken at this point. The customer has not even given us the contract. We are still marketing to them, trying to convince them that the system works well. So the customer can still come and say, I'm not interested in this system. It doesn't solve my problem. Or we might even cost, and the customer might say, your pricing is too high, I cannot afford it. So this one is a sunk cost. So we will not count it as a relevant cost. So this has been incurred in the past, which means that it is not future cost. Remember the 3 criteria for relevant costing. It has to be a cash flow, it has to be happening in the future, and as a result of our decision. So which means it has to happen after we have taken that decision. So that's the first one. The second one is the installation cost. Let's read about what it's saying about it. Note 2. The installation is expected to take 1 week to complete and will require 3 engineers, each of whom is paid a monthly salary of $4,000. The engineers have just had their annual renewable contract, so that means the contract is annually for the engineers. One of the 3 engineers has spare capacity to complete the work. So one of them has spare capacity to do the job, so we don't even need three of them. Well, let's say, but it's okay. But the other two would have to be moved from contract X in order to complete this one. Oh, okay. So let's understand it. We need three engineers. One has spare capacity. The other two needs to be taken off their current job. Now, the contract X, where they are working on currently, generates a contribution of $5 per engineer hour. So which means if we take these engineers from the contract X job that they are currently working on, this contribution might be impacted because that is what we are earning from that current job. There are no other engineers available to continue with contract X if these two engineers are taking off the job. Okay. It will mean that TICO will miss its contractual completion deadline on contract X by 1 week. Okay, so interesting. Look at this. Initially, opportunity cost was coming to my mind that we're losing that. But look at the twist into this question. They said only the deadline will be shifted by 1 week. So we will still be able to complete contract X that is giving us $5 per engineer hour. But look at this. As a result, TICO would have to pay a one-off penalty of $500 since there is no other work schedule for their engineers in 1 week's time. It will not be a problem for them to complete contract X at this point. So what this is saying is that we will still complete contract X. However, there will be a delay of 1 week, and because of that delay, we will pay a penalty of $500. So if I look at the whole of this question, the only cash flow that will be leaving this company as a result of taking the new proposal job is the fact that $500 penalty will be paid because there will be a delay in completion of contract X. So we are now recruiting new people. They are already on annual contracts. As you can see, they've renewed. Yeah, annually renewable contract. So whether they do this new job or they don't do this new job, they will get paid. They have a 1-year contract with us. Okay, so their salary is sunk. Yeah, so let's put our justification. The salaries are sunk cost. That's number one. So it's not relevant. Likewise, the contribution will still be earned, though delayed. So likewise, not relevant. However, penalty of $500 will be incurred. Is the only cash flow arising after the decision has been taken. That's the reality. So that's why it's only 500 that will be relevant for the installation cost. I hope that is very clear. Let's move to the third one. And I hope it's making sense. Very interesting question. The third note, that's technical advisor. So let's put it there. Technical advisor. And what is it saying? TICO's technical advisor would also need to dedicate 8 hours of his time to the job. He's working at full capacity, so he would have to work overtime in order to do this. He is paid an hourly rate of $40 and is paid for all overtime at a premium of 50% above his usual hourly rate. So look at this. This guy needs to work 8 hours on this new project. If we decide to do it, we will need a technical advisor. His current hourly rate is $40. So this guy is not on fixed contract. He's being paid based on the number of hours he's working. So if he doesn't have a job, he doesn't get paid. So if he's going to work for us, let's see the condition. He said for him to work for us, because he's currently at full capacity, so he's busy, we can't take him off his job. He will have to work overtime to work for us. And to work overtime is charging premium of 50% over the normal rate. So which means for 8 hours, it will charge us, if he's going to work for us, he's going to work for 8 hours and he's going to charge us extra 50%. So which means we need to multiply his normal rate by 1.5 and his normal rate is 40. So we're going to incur $480 to get that technical advisor to work for us. So our justification is currently working on full capacity and must work overtime at rate of 50% premium on normal rate. So for 8 hours. And that's as simple as that. We'll move to the next one, number 4. Number 4 is on site inspector. Site inspector. Now let's see what's got. Number 4. 2 visits will need to be made by the site inspector to approve the completed work. Is an independent contractor who is not employed by TICO and charges PUSHCO directly for the work. His cost is $200 for each visit made. Look at this interesting one, site inspection. Site inspection is done by PUSHCO, which is the customer. Yeah, we at TICO, we are trying to estimate our own cost. Yeah, so we don't have business with this one. If our customer has their own process of inspecting their work, maybe for quality assurance or whatever it is, that is not part of our process. We have not engaged the site inspector, so it's not our cost. In that case, it is 0. So inspector is employed by customer and not TICO. So in that case, not a relevant cost. This is pretty easy. We cannot pay our customer staff. Customers have to pay their staff. Okay, number 5. TICO's systems trainer. So this is on systems trainer. Let's put it there. Would need to spend 1 day at PUSHCO to deliver training. So they will have to train people. And is paid a monthly salary of $1,500, but also receives commission of $125 for each day spent delivering training at client site. Interesting. The guy is on a monthly salary of $1,500. So whether we take the new job or we don't take the new job, he's going to collect his monthly salary. He's being paid every month. He's not paid per job done. He's not paid per hour. Right. So which means the extra that we're going to be incurring is just the $125 extra commission that he gets every time he goes on the client side. So that will be the relevant cost for that, $125. Yeah, because justification, monthly salary is fixed. and only commission will be the relevant cash flow as a result of the decision. And what's the decision? Let's complete it. Decision to sell to customer, to new customer. To make it very clear. Note 6. Gradually, we're almost done with this. Note 6 on telephone handsets. Telephone handset. 120 telephone handset will need to be supplied to Pushco. The current cost of this is 18.2 each. Although TICO already has 80 in inventory, these were bought at the price of 16.8 each. The handsets are the most popular model on the market and frequently requested by TICO's customers. Okay, so 120 is required. Do we have it in inventory? We have 80. We need to buy 40. That is currently sold at 18.2. The one we currently have in stock, do we need it? Yes, we need it because it is frequently requested by TICO's customers. So without this decision, we will be requiring those inventory. They are not waste. So, which means we need to ask ourselves, can they be replaced? Because if they can be replaced, we just need to use the replacement cost, because if we use them, then we need to replace them for the project that requires them normally, because our own decision is the new decision that we are taking, right? So even if we have to use them, we have to replace them, and the relevant cost will be the replacement cost. But if we don't need them, it's a different ballgame. Remember, it will have been 0. But if we need them and we cannot replace them again, then that means opportunity cost will come into play. But this one, we have them, but we need them. In that case, we need to replace all of them. So replacement cost is the same thing as your market cost, which is 120 pieces that we need multiplied by 18.2. And that will give us 2,184. We're making good progress, almost done. So let's put our justification there. Justification is just what I've explained, that we need the 80 items in stock. Therefore, they must be replaced. And the future relevant cash flow will be at the market replacement price. 0.2. The balance of 40 pieces must be acquired as they are not in stock. Period. 7. Let's see what is 7 talking about. It's talking about the computerized control system. So let's call it control system. And what is it saying? Pushco would also need a computerized control system called Swipe 2. The current market price of Swipe 2 is $10,800, although TICO has an older version of the system called Swipe 1 in inventory, which would be modified at a cost of $4,600. So what this is saying, before I continue, this part is saying that we need a control system as part of this order from a new customer. And the control system that we need is called Swipe 2. If you want to buy swipe 2 directly from the market, we're going to spend $10,800 to get it. However, we have another option because TICO has an older version of that system, which is swipe 1. We have swipe 1, but we can't use swipe 1 as it is. We need to modify it, maybe upgrade it so that it can give the same function as swipe 2. In order to make it work like swipe 2, we will have to spend $4,600, right? So which means we already have swipe 1. Swipe 1 is sunk because it's sitting down for nothing, but this is going to be a new cost. But let's be looking at it. Next, TICO paid $5,400 for swipe 1 when it ordered it in error 2 months ago. So it was bought in error. I don't know why they did not return it, but obviously it's not a business. It means they can't return it. And has no other use for it. See, it is not useful. So it's scrap. The current market price of swipe 1 is $5,450. Joker. We are not buying swipe 1. You just want to confuse us. Try other. However, if TICO try to sell the one they have, it will be deemed to be used. You get that? So if they try to resell that swipe 1, nobody's going to buy it as new. Though we know they've never used it because they bought it out of error, but because it is not coming directly from the manufacturer, whoever is buying it will say it's still a partially used item, and because of that, it's only worth $3,000. So look at this question. 2 options: buy swipe 2 or modify swipe 1. Remember, you have to always go for your cheapest option because you are costing. So option 1, let me just quickly do this analysis. I'll delete it. So option 1 is to buy swipe 2. And if you're buying swipe 2, you are paying $10,800. Option 2 is to upgrade swipe 1. And if you decide to upgrade swipe 1, what will be the future relevant cost for that upgrade? You are not going to buy swipe 1, so the cost of purchasing swipe 1 is not relevant, it's sunk. However, let me call it working 1, so I won't have to delete it because it's good. So if you have to upgrade swipe 1, you're going to spend $4,600 to upgrade it. And likewise, you could have sold it for $3,000, but you will not be able to sell it again because you want to use it. So opportunity cost, you're going to lose that $3,000. So between these two, you have to choose which will be your better option. So definitely, as a good costing accountant, you have to go for the cheaper option. So your relevant cost is $7,600. And that is pretty easy. All you have to say is, let's put a justification. Yeah, so is that it is cheaper to upgrade swipe 1 than buying swipe 2. Yeah. Then how did we arrive at 7,600? Let's put it here. Yeah, we are at 7,600. We are by considering a modification cost, which is relevant, and the opportunity cost of losing the revenue from the sale of the swipe 1 control system. That's it. Number 8, cable. We've got cables too. Let's see. 1,000 meters of cable would be required to wire up the system. The cable is used frequently by TICO and it has 200 meters in inventory, which costs 1.2 per meter. The current market price for the cable is 1.3. Interesting one again. We need 1,000 meters. We have 200 in inventory, but we use them frequently. So another replacement cost will play up here. And in that case, both the 800 that we're buying new and the 200 meters that we are picking from the inventory will need to be bought at the new market price, because 800 is coming from the market directly. We're going to use up what we have in the inventory and we'll have to replace it because it is being used frequently. So in that case, it's just saying the one we have in inventory, you can think about it like leave it because you frequently use it. Just go to the market and buy your 1,000. That's another way to think about it. And in that case, it's just very straightforward. 1,000 multiplied by 1.3. And that's 1,300. Yeah, similar explanation like we did somewhere here. Yeah, somewhere here. So both the total of 1,000 meters required will be bought at the market price, since TICO uses the cable frequently. Yeah. Do we have more? We have one more. 9. Note 9. 1,000. Okay, that's this one. You should assume that this is just information on numbers which we don't need at this stage. Okay, so that is it for that first part of the question, part A of 15 marks. With this, you would have earned 15 marks. Let's see what is the total cost that we should be using as the basis. So the basis is 30,589. So which means that, see, oh no, we shouldn't put this. So this shouldn't be part of this. This, my workings is adding up to it. So let me just cut it off and put it under. Yeah. Yeah, just so that. So this is the total. 12,189. So what we are saying is that the minimum price, let me write it, because what we're saying is the minimum price we should be quoting will be 12,189. But obviously it won't be 12,189 because we also need to make money, right? We are not charity organization. So, but the total relevant cost is 12,189. Therefore, TICO can charge this amount plus desired margin to quote for the new business opportunity. Yeah. So that is for part A.